Welcome, my name is Sabrina, and this is my very first official YouTube video. I'm excited, nervous, all the things, but it's something I've wanted to do for a really long time, and it's going to be on something that I feel like I know a lot of, and that is the life of a hairstylist. I have been doing hair right at 11 years. I graduated in 2000 and almost 11 years actually. I graduated in 2009. I went to a little podunk small town community college as I dual enrolled in high school, and I'm now been doing hair almost 11 years. I have rebuilt my clientele 4 times in the last 10 years. Within that, I am my own business owner. I have a private studio. I am a national color educator for John Paul Mitchell Systems, and I've been an educator for going on 5 years. So I feel like I have a lot of stories to share, and because I'm an educator, I have the honor to go into other salons, sometimes schools, and get to work shows. And a lot of times I get asked questions, like, how did you get where you are? Is it hard starting over? Is it hard having your own business? How did you become an educator? All these things. And the answer to all of it is yes, it's all hard. Cosmetology school alone is hard. I was really immature when I went, not even gonna lie. I dual enrolled when I was in high school. I was 17, I believe, 16 and a half, 17, and I went as a joke, not even gonna lie. I was really good friends with a girl at the time in high school. Her name was Brittany, and we were inseparable. We went everywhere together, and she wanted to go to cosmetology school, and Brittany already had her license, and so we could leave halfway during the day and go to cosmetology school. So for me, it was just a way to get out of high school. I like beauty stuff, but I didn't really care. And so I signed up, showed up, and didn't even have scrubs, my book, my kit, anything. There was some miscommunication there, and so I went to my dad, and I told my dad, like, hey, I need $500 for my kit, plus I needed, I think, an extra like $100 for my book, and I needed a couple pairs of black scrubs. And thankfully my dad is the person that he is, and he lent me the money and told me, he asked me, he's like, is this something you're serious about? And of course I lied, because I just wanted to go hang out with my friend. But he gave me the money. He was like, he said something along the lines of like, don't disappoint me, or, like that was harder on something along those lines. And so I went to school. I did okay with it. I wasn't the best student. I was not the worst, but I wasn't the best. But I was just kind of lazy. I was just a way for me to get out of school. I did okay. I always passed my classes. And then I remember the very last semester, I didn't know if I wanted to do hair anymore. Or I didn't know if I wanted to like pursue this career. And I think it was just, I was just burnt out with school. Like you're going and it's hard, and you're surrounded with these same 50 something girls. There's always drama when you get a bunch of women together. And so I remember not knowing if I wanted to be there or not. I ended up graduating, and then I signed up for my test. I went to school in North Carolina, and my state board was in Raleigh, and I ended up starting at a little salon right outside of school, and they knew that I had my temporary work permit, and they were willing to work with me until I got my license. So I went to take my test. My dad drove me, and it was a 5.5 hour drive, I believe, from where we were in North Carolina to Raleigh. And we get there, I'm nervous, and I actually got disqualified the very first time I took my test. And a lot of people don't know this story. Now it's hilarious, but years ago I was really embarrassed and traumatized. When you're in this room, there's mirrors all on the wall, and you're at a station, and you're not allowed to speak, you're not allowed to ask questions, and you have 2 instructors walking around the room grading you on each portion. And we're at the hair cutting portion, and I actually like cut the top of my knuckle off. I was nervous. I was in the watching the lady watch me in the mirror, and I cut my finger, and I started freaking out, you know. And there's a blood sanitation portion. If you cut yourself, you have to like follow these steps. Well, at first I was freaking out, and I couldn't get my finger to stop bleeding. I finally got it to stop bleeding, and this lady could see that I was like struggling. So she comes and opens the door beside me to outside to like get some air in there, and she mouth breathe. And I was like, okay. So I started doing like my cleanup, and I didn't have a biohazard sticker for my bloody implement bag. So I think there's something else about gloves maybe. Like I had gloves, but I didn't put them in something, and so they came over and asked me to leave, and I got disqualified. So of course I started squalling, absolutely squalling, and I called you're not supposed to have your phone there, so I had to go up front, wait for them to get me my phone. My dad's sitting outside waiting on me, and I only was in this building for like maybe 30-40 minutes. So he's like, what's going on? I told him, and you know, I was all pouty, upset. He was really cool about it. We drove home, and as soon as we got home, he made me go online and repurchase my test and reschedule it. And I didn't want to, but he's like, no, I paid for you to go to school. You told me you were going to do this. You're going to honor it. You're going to do it. He's like, you're not going to give up. I was like, okay. So then I studied like crazy, did the blood sanitation, like practiced multiple times in case I cut myself again. I went back and I passed with flying colors. I think I got like a 98 from what I can remember. But all of that is to say is, you know, I never planned on doing hair. I went to school to hang out with my friend. My dad made me take my test and made me retake it because he paid for it. You know, and he's like, you didn't waste, you know, all this time, 2.5 years in school for nothing. And then I didn't know if I wanted to do hair, and I started, and the first salon that hired me because she thought I was pretty and I fit what she wanted for her business. And I was really bad at hair when I first started. I think everybody pretty much is, at least I was. The school I went to just taught you enough to pass your boards. It also goes back to me just being like, you know, 16, 17, 18 years old and just being really immature and not knowing what I wanted, you know. So all that is to say is here I am almost 11 years later, and I'm so happy that I picked this career field. It has been a very rewarding, very hard, very challenging career field, and I feel like I'm becoming an expert at starting over. I mentioned earlier that this is my 4th time rebuilding my clientele in 10 years, and the reason for that is my husband is active duty Air Force, and so we move around every 4 years, and I have finally figured out how to have my own business and restart every time that we move. And every time it gets a little easier. You know, I do struggle with finding clientele, getting my name out there. Social media has been a challenge for me, just building it. And you know, I love it, and I love being able to be my own boss now and just move around. I love being an educator and getting to teach other people. So that's a little bit about where I started, and kind of what this whole channel is going to be about is just confessions of my life as a hairstylist. Crazy clients, how to track your numbers, being an educator, you know, finding your value, pricing, all this stuff. I want to do videos probably weekly or every other week, just to help out other hairstylist friends. Like, I get asked questions pretty regularly about stuff, and I think this would be a really good way for me just to continue to help other people in the way that I want to. And so if you guys have any specific questions or video requests, please drop them down below, so that way it can help me figure out how to, you know, make my videos, what to make them on, things like that. So if you guys have a similar horror story to mine of getting your state board exam and stuff done, I would love to hear it. So thank you guys so much for watching, and don't forget to subscribe to see all of my new upcoming videos. Can't wait. Bye guys.